Welcome to Little Birdie Podcast. I'm your host, Nick Heathcote, joined by professional punter Jack Dickens. Sammy Sutton has brought in chocolate cake for everyone.
I have indeed.
It's your birthday.
It's not my birthday, but...
Whose birthday was it?
Well, as I mentioned on...
Because I saw your Instagram and
You haven't tagged anyone in.
And you didn't tag anyone in.
Are you on the market?
No, I'm not.
You're off the market.
I am.
But why no tag? The man in question asked me to ask you. He said...
That is a lie. But as I said on one of my first shows, if you're going to come into work a little bit dusty, always bring some baked goods. It's the best way to win over your colleagues if you're just a little bit under par.
Now, it's a big week in AFL world, and there'll be something that gets under Jack's skin. I can see it. The Sydney Swans have been fined $50,000 for Elijah Taylor's Joondalup hub breach.
What?
Joondalup.
Joondalup, okay.
Yeah, that's the golf resort, and that's where they're all staying over there, right?
Just checking.
So the Swans have copped $50,000 and the player's been rubbed out for the rest of the season. It's funny because Collingwood have had the tennis thing with Nathan Buckley.
No, that was. Oh no, that was in the hub too.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they've had Steel Side Bottom, like out in the public, just roaming around.
That wasn't on a golf resort. That was all.
Steele's
over
already
Melbourne.
Back, isn't he? He's already playing.
Flying, great footballer.
But this young boy, this 19-year-old kid, he's out for the rest of the season.
Thrown to the wolves, tortured.
So
not actually tortured. Just that was a word of phrase. Please don't get up me for that.
Don't call in. Collingwood and Sydney have had a lot of battles in the past with salary. There's bad blood here, isn't there, Jack? Yeah.
The Swans cop the short end more often than not.
Collingwood.
Will ban from trading because of a relentless narrative around the Swans using cola. Because for anyone who you have, it costs a lot more to live in Sydney. It's a fact. Because the real estate's worth more. Anyway, we got in trouble for not breaking the rules and got banned from trading for 2 years, like severely handicapped.
Rules for some.
Now the inconsistencies around the way the AFL hands out these punishments, and then the relentless, just like they need it in the vein. They need that content. I don't know if we can say that either, but we'll find out. They need content so badly in Victoria that they throw anything under and everything under. The stuff that doesn't get spoken about and the stuff that does, and I find it staggering that this young kid has been just torched in a time where everyone is struggling with mental health, and it's only going to get harder.
Where's
the mental health side of this? The AFL history of looking after and helping Indigenous footballers is not good enough.
No.
And this is yet again another example of it. Nathan Buckley should be held, in my opinion, to a higher account than Elijah Taylor.
Exactly.
Because he's a grown man of extremely high calibre, like a person I admire, most people admire. Elijah Taylor's a young kid. I've heard about Sammy. I know about you, and I'm happy to admit I've done a lot of silly things. God help if people actually cared what I got up to, I'd be in a lot of trouble all the time.
We do need to accept that these are, as you said, kids. They haven't fully grown up yet, and they've been thrown into a world where they're put on a pedestal, absolute stardom. They've got money coming out of their ears.
Well, what's the answer? Like, why is this news? The things that are reported are just so
but there's
random.
There's a lot of inconsistency in sport. When is it okay and when is it not? Because I can almost, and I hate it because I love racing, but there are a lot of inconsistencies in racing. There's so much news that's come out the last week, which I'm sure we're about to touch on, about inconsistencies. But you can almost understand it when there's multiple jurisdictions. You've got different people making rules in different places.
Well,
but the AFL, they're one body. Like
it should be a strength, but
Yes.
then now it sort of makes it easier to call out when it's not consistent, I guess.
The biggest issues in racing at the moment is the border crossing. Horses can't come down from New South Wales into Victoria. Or they can come. They're coming from New South into Victoria.
You can go to rsn.net and read the article, which I'm about to speak about. It implied that Peter V'landys has a report that no one else has seen, except for people within Racing Victoria, Racing New South Wales, to justify the border ban, which is having a real negative impact on real people, like Mitchell Beer, who's on the show, and it's affecting the racing industry because there's obviously an angle in it that Racing New South Wales think they can gain. The report has not been shared with anyone else because of the no joint jurisdictions, and it's similar to the way that every other racing state reports their wagering figures. Racing New South Wales does not make their wagering figures public.
We've tried to get Peter V'landys on the show, and we're struggling to make contact, and that would be in line with other things from Racing New South Wales.
I do think it's interesting that breeding horses can still travel between states.
Why do you reckon that is?
Not race horses, but if they're
because cash
breeding.
is king. Like so I could take a broodmare from Seaford to the Hunter Valley, but if it was a racehorse,
and Mitch
I couldn't.
Mitch can't take his horse over
but
the
what
border
happens
to
to
race.
Mitch is if he has a good horse, right? Young trainer, promotes the sport. He's got a good horse. He had a good horse around on Saturday. He didn't train it though on Saturday because it's been moved to Peter Moody.
Yeah.
Because he can't train it now.
Yeah, think about the effect that it would have on the Hunter Valley breeders. Of course, not
Having none on them.
No, of course. I'm saying if we enforce the border rule across all horses, not just racing horses.
And then we get to why does racing exist?
So New South Wales, their tracks are in not great shape at the moment. Randwick's described as a swamp, and it's
on the deep dive at themailbag.com.au, you can go and watch it. So within the first sort of 5 minutes of the show, it's called a swamp by people who bet there every single weekend.
I don't think that's far from the mark.
On my first show with Little Birdie, we had Rob Waterhouse on here talking about turnover and how turnover is affected by the state of the track. Well, I was having a bit of a chat to Tristan about how his turnover was going with Sydney in its current condition. So he said that Saturday, the Sydney hold was about 65% of their Caulfield hold, whereas that same meeting last year was 80%.
It's going to be a big show today. We're going to talk NRL. They've got their own problems, the bite gate, and they've got this other crisis as well, Telstra versus Vodafone. There's more to talk about that, and Top Rope Tedeschi will join us soon. But
we've got to talk about Andy Penn, who is on $5 million a year, which would be more than PVL, and he's justified that big wage, that big salary. He's an all-star in the corporate world, and he's pulled one over PVL. It's started to make PVL sort of look a little bit not as smooth.
Up next, we're going to talk AFL with Ian Dowson and Cam Dean, and we might get Dowso's opinion on the Tom Lynch fines and the state of the game.
We'll talk some Coleman medal and minor premiership stuff with Cam Dean, and then we'll finish off with Big Teddy Top Rope and Big Daddy. Daddy in the golf.
Moonee Valley races this week. Jack, you're starting to do a spring fling with the mailbag, so you can join Jack to do all the form.
You'll get bets Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Friday nights when they kick off. Each and every race delivered via our app and our Movers product, which is bets all through the week in Victoria.
So that's themailbag.com.au. We've got Moonee Valley up this week.
30%
and the
off.
tracks are racing really, really well. And puntingform.com.au is the best database that you can use doing the form if you've got time to do it yourself. If not, use Jack.
Or use both.
Use both. Up next, AFL.
Welcome back to Little Birdie. It's Sammy and the boys, and we're about to talk AFL. With none other.
40.
Dowso.
Everything is awesome at Dowso.
How good's
Hey
footy?
guys, footy's going great.
That's sigh. I'm actually happy that it's had a couple of nights off because the game is so soft.
Also, the Hawkies managed to score, what was it, 30 plus this week? Improved from the 25 last week. Up and about the boys.
I think Gary Lyon absolutely nailed it. We're playing sociable football, and the chit-chat but with the players before the game is absolutely disgraceful. The TikTok, it's all there, all the signs and all. I just don't know why Alistair Clarkson is putting up with it. But let's talk
Definitely not his fault.
bad beats with Dowso.
Bad beats indeed, guys. And I'm just going to get out of lane here for a little bit. Jackie Boy Chugs was at it again on Thursday night.
Man.
He was into Pappenhausen anytime try scorer, and he was also storm head to head into the overs, and of course the big man. I think you say it Vinavulu put his foot out of bounds, I believe, and blew that one up. So that was no good. Again, a little bit of out of lane from Steve-O at Ace Previews. We got Anna Bogdan in the tennis. for $3 for the win, up 5-1 in the first set, and then did her hammy, the poor thing. So that one doesn't get up for Steve-O. But the biggest bad beat of all for the weekend has to be the Freo blow-up. I don't need to go into what happened there because I think it's been pretty well documented. But interestingly enough, I was actually preparing the speech for another bad beat for Carlton. I just thought, geez, if Carlton lose this, I thought they were crucified again by the umpires. So maybe justice done for the Blue Baggers there in the end anyway. But they were the bad beats for the weeks, guys.
I actually I speak to Jack Chugs a bit. He's a movers mailbag. He's one of my clients, and
You've got him in the cult.
But what happens in the racing game is if you bet okay, if you make good decisions, they turn your account off. So, like I said to him, I said, if you keep pumping these same game multis, mate, you'll be greenlit everywhere. It's true. They're a great way to keep an account sort of
just
alive.
massage the account. Now, Dowso, Tom Lynch fined $1,000 twice. What did you make of it, and what do you think that message is for the game?
Well, I think the message for the game's been pretty consistent. You've been able to punch in the guts forever and just get a little slap on the wrist. So I think it is consistent by the AFL. If they're going to get fair income about that stuff, they've got to come out at the start of the year and say, all right, all of these punches in the stomach, they're going to be suspension. So I didn't have any issue, to be honest, with the ruling. I thought the ruling was consistent with what they've done in the past. It's what I expected. I don't like it. I think it's pretty weak. This punch in the stomach all the time when your player's not expecting it, it's not tough. But I didn't have a problem with the ruling.
Yeah, he's probably on about 15 to 20k a week. So if I'm Tom, am I worried? No.
I'd be giving the fairy taps out. I think that's fine. Now, Dowso, what do you think about the 4-day breaks? And then how forgivable are you on a team that has an off day?
Yeah, well, I think we're talking about Port there, aren't we? They had a shocker against the Cats there, but I think the Cats are going really well, and I think the Cats actually are the real favourite. I actually think they're the real one for the premiership. I'm still a bit funny on West Coast, until they actually come across to the other side and start playing some quality sides and winning. I'm still a bit funny on them. And the Tigers, I'm not quite sold on the Tigers, but I think the Cats. They look to be the real deal at the moment, so I'm pretty impressed with them. Look, the 4-5 day breaks, I think it's just more about players in, players out than it actually is time out of the game. So I think the key thing is actually who's on the park. I think that's the most important thing with these 4-5 day breaks. I
think on top of that, where are they going to play the grand final? I was listening to Jane's second favourite podcast, The Sounding Board, and I think they had sort of Brisbane like $1.60 favourite. They actually talked odds, which I loved. So I think if it's in Brisbane,
massive edge.
Your big edge Geelong, because they look to be suited at those faster decks. But if it's in Perth, then big edge West Coast.
Can't be Perth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't actually be going to Perth. No.
Cash is king, baby.
And I'm not sure. I think Port are going okay, and I'm not prepared to throw them out, but. Are they going to win? They're going to need to win 2 in a row against high-quality opposition to even make the grand final. Are they going to win? They haven't really been able to beat consistently the top teams this year. So, are Port going to get there? I'm not so sure.
Yeah, but I think it's favourite to be in Brisbane, which I think makes it really, really open.
I thought McGowan would just leverage this latest hub breach and work that into the deal and say, well, we're just going to rip all the footy out of WA unless you host the grand final.
The narrative was
behind the doors. I'd be trying that if I was Mark McGowan.
Yeah, the narrative
He's got big pills.
They'll just try and do a massive offer and say, like, here's a huge amount of money to have the grand final.
Yeah.
But I think the AFL's keener to have it in Queensland.
Good mention on Geelong, though. They did firm over the week from $9.50 into $6. Some very ballsy individual has had $3,000 on them at the $9.
Yeah, okay. And I think West Coast and Tigers and Cam might talk more about this in a moment, but I think West Coast and Tigers are still a bit shorter than that, which is interesting because I think when you look at those three, I still feel the Cats are a better look at the moment than those other two. But hey, that's just me.
I still think West Coast are a great lay at the current price. They look well under the odds, and when the going gets tough, I have a big question mark over those guys. Dowso, before we let you go, what's your best bet for round 13 this week?
Yeah, I like the look of the Saints. I thought Brisbane looked like they had concrete boots on the weekend. And look, they might freshen up and they might come out this week and look really strong. But the Saints are going okay. I know they had that setback against Port a couple of weeks ago, but they're on top of the ground. They got players back last week. They look pretty sharp, and I just don't have those teams that far apart. So I think, what do we got there, Sammy, for the Saints? What line have we got there for Top Sport?
Good value there. It's plus 15.5.
Yeah,
they're $2.85.
Yeah,
to
I
win,
think that's
and then
big.
Brisbane Lions
So-
obviously
so-
$1.42.
So that's my keenest of the week at the moment.
He knows how to find value because our man,
Gosh.
he was very bullish about the Sydney Swans, Samantha, who, geez, they might be back. They absolutely steamrolled them last week. Beautiful to see.
Yeah, they went
a lot of young blokes starting to show a little bit. Loved it.
They went all right. Hey, and just a little one there too on GWS. A little birdie has told me that, and I don't know if it's in the media yet, but Toby's definitely playing there. So, so just take that into consideration for the Eagles GWS bettors.
Fantastic stuff, Dow. So at Barefoot Punter 1, if you want to find him on Twitter. And up next, we'll talk with Cam. Thanks, Dowso.
Thanks, guys.
Now it's time for Cam Dean. Cam had the week off last week. What did you get up to, big boy?
It was a bit confusing for the listeners because Scoot, I think, gave about 5 different reasons why I wasn't on the show last week. And,
He was very excited last week. He got all his words
he's-
out like real smooth too. He started a bit shaky today. We're not sure how it's going to finish, but he was very, very excited. He could throw a bit of on you.
Yeah, he did, and he gave all these reasons. Friends and family were confused. he was razzing up the state of the game as he's been doing some awful chat there. And he's created a few trolls for me on the state of the game. I had one. I've got this troll on the state of the game, and he's been trolling me. He told me a few weeks ago that the game was unwatchable and that he switched off from ever watching it. And then last night, the same troll gave me a tweet and said, I said to him, how do you fix this state of the game? And he said, any danger the umpires might find within themselves to pay a chopping the arms or a holding free kick. And Tom lashed out last night. So he's either not watching the game and he's lying about how to fix the game, or he's actually is watching the game and lying about not watching the game. So these state of the games are really confusing me. And then
It's like what my mum always says. Oh, what a tangled web we weave. And we set out to deceive.
This is peak Scooty behaviour too, by the way. Just for anyone who's unsure, he loves to give things
But
a little
he's
bit of
not
a
even
stir.
100% sure if Cam's talking about
Let
him.
Cam speak. Let Cam speak. He's the wise one here.
he's getting them all raised up, these state of games, but then he's come out and told me how to fix the state of the game, this troll, but then KB wants to do it by chopping rotations. I think Lethal Lee wants to make it 16 aside. Kane Corns wants to put a line down the middle. Scoot's got his own view. I think poor old Gill, he's going to have to introduce 25 new rules next year just to fix up the state of the game.
That'd be normal behaviour, wouldn't it?
Maybe they just need to revert back to the way it was. I sound like a fossil when I say that.
You do. You sound real fossil.
Now let's talk betting, because we're into betting and making a quid on the punt here. Now the Friday night game, Gold Coast Suns versus Carlton. Matt Rowell's coaching the Suns again this week. Cam, what's your lean?
Yeah, big on the Blues here. Gold Coast have to back up after playing on Monday against the Tigers and then travel to Darwin to play the Blues, who are in good form. So I'm really big on the Blues there in that game.
Do you think the wheels and the early fire from the Suns is starting to come out of the tank, the petrol?
Do you think the wheels are starting to fall off, is what he's trying to say?
The wheels are falling off, mate.
There's not much petrol left in the tank. That's all the translation is
Well,
from
they've
that.
lost the last 5 in a row. They've had a draw, and that's about it.
You're making Scooty nervous.
They were good early, but now it's similar to last year and other seasons.
It does feel that way, Scoot, and that was part of the reason I was tipping him. But they did play quite well against the Tigers on Monday night and could have even won that game had a few things gone a little bit differently in the third quarter. But, yeah, it looks to be that way. It looks like the young players are getting tired, and that's why part of this reason why I like the Blues, because they've got a short backup. They've got to travel over to Darwin, and the Blues are going well.
Yeah, they've been a bit of a firming in the betting there as well. They've gone from -4 to -7.5. The Blues there. They're $1.62 to win, and Gold Coast Suns at $2.30.
You're absolutely on fire for the mailbag.com.au, but your other best bet for the week, I think it comes in the Freo versus Sydney match.
Yeah, I really like Freo here as well.
Jack's on the floor.
The Swannies, as Dicko would actually, if he's being honest with himself, he knows they're battling this year. They've been probably re-rated too highly after a win against GWS, who are really battling. I know Sydney were good last week. They lose Dane Rampy, and Freo have now got Fife and Walters back, and they're going quite well.
Two big wins.
They were pretty good against Blues, really. So I'm really bullish on Freo to clean up Sydney in this game.
I think if Sydney were treated fairly by the umpires on whatever night it was, that GWS wouldn't have kicked a goal. All 3 goals came from free kicks that weren't there. But Rampy's an enormous out. He's just pulling all the strings for the sort of back half, which is just about the whole football club, because that's how AFL's played these days. So he's an enormous out.
Mm.
Yeah, he's big. And you're right. I think you're right about that one, Dicko. I think GWS were so poor they probably wouldn't have kicked a goal without the umpiring.
Now, Cam, looking at the AFL futures, you're somewhat of an oracle in this respect. It looks like you got Monday's paper. Lockie Neal, you tipped him up at mid $3, and now he's into $1.45.
$1.45.
Cam knew.
Wow.
Cam reads the play very, very well. Now, the Coleman medal is where you want to focus your attention. Tell us.
Yeah, the Coleman medal there, of the one I like, Tom Hawkins, and I think he's $2.50 there with Top Sport. It looks like it's down to a 2-horse race. Hawkins is on 30 goals, Kennedy's on 27, and then the next is Butler on 22. So Butler's probably out of it, and then the rest are a long way back. And so you're down to a 2-horse race, and you can get $2.50 on the guy who's 3 ahead, and he's in the best form in the comp. And they've got Adelaide this week and a reasonably good draw coming home. So for me, I think that price should be a lot shorter. So I think that's good value in the Coleman.
Jeez, you convinced me. $2.50.
They just hemorrhage the prices. Now, minor premiership betting. A little while ago, I think you tipped up Port Adelaide for memory. What's your feeling now?
I did tip up Port Adelaide, and I'm going again. I think Top Sport, I saw this morning, they're $4. They sit on top of the ladder with 36 points. They've got a good percentage. And their run home, I even saw last night, Champion Data rated everyone's run home, and Port Adelaide's was one of the highest. It was definitely higher than Brisbane, Geelong and West Coast. They're on top of the ladder with a good percentage, with the best run home, and I think you can get $4 on them for the minor. I really like that bet.
Big data man, our Cam. Absolutely loves it.
Juicy.
I think that's all we've got time for Cam. If you want to get more of Cam, you can head to themailbag.com.au.
And if you do, you'll get Cam's plays when he finds them, the exact unit betting advice, the price
Sent
to take.
instantly.
And it comes like a text message notification via the Mailbag app.
And the market just goes off. Thanks, Cam.
Thanks, guys. And just take it easy on the state of the game. It's for me with your scoop.
Will do, Cam. Now, Sammy, if you're betting this week, where are you betting and why?
Well, if you're betting on sport, you'd have to go to Top Sport because they're offering $2 lines to win up to $200. That's every single match, NRL or AFL. But if you are worried about yourself or someone you love, make sure you do contact Gamblers Helpline on 1-800-858-858.
Up next, Top Rope Tedeschi.
Welcome back to Little Birdie. It's Sammy and we are talking NRL soon with the boys.
But first, we'll talk Hall of Fame with Top Rope Tedeschi. It feels like I haven't seen you forever.
It has been way too long, team. Way too long.
Now, the last couple of weeks in the Hall of Fame, we've had Hazel Schofer. She rode a 6-peat at Harrowa in New Zealand, the North Island, near New Plymouth, wherever that is. And it sounds like her trainer bet up on the multis and they just missed. I was reading the reports and I was just like, they've had multis upon multis because they're going for a 7th winner. So this is probably a well-orchestrated sting. You guys talk about stings a lot.
Betting over there.
Yeah, someone's having a bet. The jockeys are allowed to bet over there.
Are they?
Yeah, in New Zealand.
Oh my God.
So
What racing? What a sport. No wonder no one knows what's going on. See, the jockeys can bet in New Zealand.
Yeah.
Jockeys can bet New Zealand, and apparently they can bet in Sydney as well.
Oh, no, hey.
Hey! Top Rope Hall of Fame this week.
Yeah, look, Adam Hieronymus ran close to getting in, but we're going to shoulder arms on that one. There's only one story. There's only one horse that can get in here. Barocca, of course, the famous text message, WhatsApp message that everyone in Australia saw. Then was denied, and then come out and won like it was an absolute superstar. So was it?
Who denied it? Who denied it?
Well, a lot of people
Clayton
question.
Douglas denied it.
What does that tell your punters at home?
Bet up.
That told me it was the truth.
Don't ever trust them. Trainers or jockeys.
No, absolute thieves.
You can't trust them.
This horse won like a superstar, so had to be in the Hall of Fame. Australia, a nation cheered. That one, so.
Barocca, it absolutely trucked. I think it was like $4 into around $1.80. You'd be sick if you laid it.
Well, I was on the phone to you. I was watching. I was tempted to start laying it in run. She looked like she was going to get a little bit crowded, which JCar can do. JCar's best is like as good as it gets, but there's a lot of fluctuation there, and gee, she gave it a peach in the end.
Is it?
You weren't real confident on her giving it a good steer in the lead-up, though, were you, Dicko? A few little question marks on the hoop there.
We'll have to go back to it again, punters. Friday week backwards, go and watch Ballarat Race 5. That's what she's capable of. But then if you go and watch her ride at Caulfield on Saturday, watch her ride Propel.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
One of the greatest rides of all time. That's what she's capable of.
She's very
You never
clever.
know what you're going to get, but usually you can glean a little bit of info from the late betting.
The Barocca, I've actually nearly forgot about Barocca or Barocca. It's a week ago. It feels like about four months ago in these COVID times.
And I don't think,
we just feel
I
like
don't think as
hamsters
a
in a
show,
wheel.
though, we should be overly supporting these kind of text messages, because I think over time
I think they're great.
You'll go broke, though.
Yeah, you will go broke if you follow them, that's
It's
for
the
sure.
closest thing we ever got to bankrupting the tab, though, surely. I mean, I know it was a short price favourite, but they were like
They're doing a pretty good job of that
97
themselves, aren't they?
Dicko loved his own work there. Off the top rope. Now, top rope.
Just on that, when a horse goes off like that, the rest of you listening at home, it's very, very crucial that the key players are involved. Because if they're not on the top odds, it's off.
Now, top rope, let's talk NRL. Have you been biting anyone this week?
I haven't been biting anyone this week. That's not my goal. I'm a gentle soul who doesn't have a bad word or a bad action against anyone, but certainly has been a little bit prevalent in the NRL this week. First send-off in a long, long time. Kevin Proctor bit Sean Johnson, and there was a fair bit around it as well. Was it a bite? Was it a nibble? Doesn't matter. Sean Johnson got told he was not going to make an official complaint. Sean Johnson got told he was going to get the penalty. He goes, I don't want the penalty. There's nothing worse in rugby league for a rugby league player than being known as a rat or a dog. And making an official complaint, it always gets to that level. The referee goes, do you want to make an official complaint? The player, with all I can say, with 100% accuracy, the number of people who have done that on an NRL field in the 110-year history of the game, 0 is the answer to that one. So, but the referee sent him off anyway, and then Sean Johnson, in one of the more awkward interviews afterwards, denied he got bit. Denied he got bit in the interview afterwards. So that was pretty entertaining. But he copped 4 weeks for it anyway.
Teddy, do you reckon PVL would want to bite Andy Penn? Andy Penn's the CEO of Telstra, who's pulled an absolute Swifty here and made PVL look like a fool, which is becoming a bit more of a thing as the sort of the halo starts to wear off the great man up north. But Jesus hasn't turned out well. Like they pulled the pin on the major sponsor of the Vodafone Warriors.
Kicked them down.
The club that's kept the NRL alive and going, the club that's putting their people through the most, the club that sacked their coach and is just in turmoil. Then they've sacked their major sponsor. A week later, Telstra says, no, don't worry about it. We'll do the right thing. It wasn't us. Awful PR here for your man PVL. Thoughts?
Look, you may think he's copped a few blows. The High Court of Australia certainly doesn't think so. They're constantly awarding in his favour. Sorry to those at the ABC. Look, PVL. This is just part of the course for PVL. Yep, he heard the backlash. He's a man of the people. He goes, all right, we've made a call here. The people don't want it. He got Telstra in the line. They jumped pretty quick, and all of a sudden we're away. So no skin on PVL's, no.
But that was an admission that he made a poor decision.
He probably made a careless decision. That's PVL. He just goes. He's an action man. He doesn't sit around.
That's progress. That's progress.
We've almost got top rope there for the first time. Now, top rope, Thursday night, Parramatta got beaten last week, but now they come up against the Storm. We might go the odds first, Sammy, and then we'll go top rope.
Para's been a huge go from $2 into $1.60.
Whoa.
With the Storm missing a stack of players, apparently. So, line about 4 in this match, and you can back the Storm at $2.40 if you'd like.
Top rope.
Yeah, like the Storm here, it's not surprisingly. There's a ton of outs. Smith and Munster, of course, were out. They lost Dale Finucane, Suliasi, Vunivalu, and Jesse Bromwich got suspended last night. Don't even matter. I don't think the Eels are going that good, to be honest. Storm have won their last 3 against Parramatta by a cumulative score of 114 to 16. Eels haven't topped that in 5 of the last 6. So I think the Storm are just too good. They've still got Pappenhausen, still got Jerome Hughes. I'll be happily taking the +4 and the $2.30.
Friday night, Penrith Panthers, Cronulla Sharkies. The Finn. Dicko's
Cronulla Sharkies. Please get the name right, would you? It's the birthplace of modern
Modern
Australia.
of course.
God's country.
That's Friday night football, and then we've got the Broncos and St George. Any angles for Friday night footy, top rope?
Well, yeah, the best angle in rugby league bet against the Broncos, so I'll be playing the 7.5.
Have they got any players left?
Well, this is dead set. You'd back half of the reserve grade teams to beat this Broncos side. Like, they have got no one left. They've lost Payne Haas to suspension. Matt Lodge and Thomas Flegler out for the season. Tom Dearden out for an extended period of time.
Didn't 10 of them go out on the drink to have a little slap there at the local?
Well, you know what? Like, normally you'd be a bit annoyed about this, but you can't blame them. Things have been that dire up there.
The answer to this is that they need to truck in a couple of poker machines into the club rooms. do your bench set and then go and have a little slap. Brick his laptop. Bang.
$140,000 fine. It seemed light.
Oh, if it was the AFL, they would have got live. Depending on if it was a young player in the AFL, would have got live. But if it was like Darren Lockyer, would have got like 2 weeks and a slap on the wrist. Langer style.
Very, very narky today, Dicko. Very, very narky.
I don't think we should start talking Langer either. Top
Which
rope.
one? Alfie? Justin? Is Justin sweet?
Wow.
I don't know if Justin's sweet. I don't know if Justin's
top
sweet. Like, I've watched the Amazon series, and some of the selection decisions early, like, I've never seen an organisation or a man more blessed by just the godlike brilliance of Stephen Smith. The man won the Ashes, and now everyone's sweet. But like the calamity of like opening bats, I'm off topic here, but some of the decisions early, awful.
Are you trying to steer away from Alfie Langer? Top rope?
He went out in the drink too, I think. He needed to. Apparently it's his birthday every second week.
Alfie is a man of vice, and you can't blame him for engaging it. So God bless him. Look, you can't blame any of these guys for wanting to get out. They could probably do it a bit better than Tavita Pangai Jr. and his efforts to get out of the club. But at least Alfie took it.
Get a haircut. He didn't get a haircut.
He's calling other clubs, slagging the Broncos. Now he's been suspended indefinitely, and no one wants to pay him. So tough old times in the TPJ household.
Top
Rugby
rope.
league.
Before you go, have you got another angle for us for the weekend?
Any golf?
Anything in the Northern Trust? We know you're a big golf punter. Flare up a bit here.
Absolutely. Few in the golf this week. I like Patrick Reed.
Last year's winner.
About $31 there. Last year's winner, Northern Trust, has won here at TPC Boston, though, but has finished top 6 in 3 of his last 4 starts. Has some good form on the correlation course to me, and I like Tyrrell Hatton at a big pricing, about $60+ on him. I think you need to have a good line game. You need to be able to putt well. He does both of those exceptionally well. 12th at his only start, TPC Boston. Excellent value there.
Tyrrell Hatton for top rope. He's picked him a few times. He's a big fan of Tyrrell Hatton. Entered in the Hall of Fame. Top rope.
Let's clarify his rugby league bet for the week, please.
Best of the week. I'm going to go with the West Tigers plus 8.5. The Roosters have got plenty of outs. There's a real good angle of big favourites off a double-digit loss, cover like 30-odd%. Tigers back at Leichhardt. They've got a close to full-strength side. I think they can easily cover that start and could probably win off the stick, to be honest.
When Sonny Bill start playing next week?
he should never play again, and I will never recognise he's returning to a rugby league field ever again. He betrayed the game and should have been banned for life. Hopefully he never gets back on the field.
Before you go, Top Rope,
Cheering him.
the Panthers keep firming. They're now into $4.40 and the third pick to take out the comp. What are your thoughts on that?
They just kept winning, so it's hard to beat. They've had no injuries. I still don't think they can. I don't think they can win it all. I don't think they have the pack to win it all. Nathan Cleary's on fire at the moment, but they probably haven't suffered the trials and tribulations or the hard draw that a few other teams have. So happy to take on the Panthers, particularly as they get shorter and shorter.
Beautiful work. As
Thanks,
always, enormous. Top Rope, enormous. Bounced through the PVL stuff okay, but we did get our first sort of glimpse that he did make. He has
Shaky.
The man's human and does make mistakes. We look forward to next week. Up next, we've got Big Daddy Adam Fraser to talk about the golf.
See you, Top Rope.
See you guys.
Now, Sammy, this week, topsport.com.au. They don't reject bets. Why would you bet with them?
Well, they're taking on all the biggest punters. In fact,
Hang
actually,
on, no, that's not fair. He's just throwing you right under with the most awkward line there. We bet with Top Sport. I'll do this ad for you, Sam.
okay, go for it.
What Scoot
Show me
was
how
sort of
it's done.
saying and asking at the same time there was that topsport.com.au will let you on for a fair wager.
They sure
Always.
will.
They'll bet the minimum bet laws all the time. Or will they? I might have said that. And they haven't.
No, they'll bet earlier than the minimum bet laws for bigger amounts.
Absolutely. They took 40,000 of someone in live in the South vs Cowboys game at $1.85 and they got out of jail late. So, yeah, if you want proof that they bet, they bet. But make sure that you do gamble responsibly. Not everyone has $40,000 to be backing NRL. Live in play. But if you are worried about yourself or someone you love, make sure you do contact Gamblers Helpline on 1-800-858-858. Welcome back to Little Birdie. I'm here with Scoot and Dicko, and we're about to welcome in Adam Fraser to talk about the Northern Trust Golf.
Big Daddy.
Big Daddy. How are you, big
Hey,
fella?
Big Daddy.
Guys.
Hey, how you going?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
Now,
Should be a good week this week.
Top Rope Tedeschi likes Pat Reed and Tyrrell Hatton in the Northern Trust. Does he know anything about golf, or is he dreaming?
I don't know him. Does he play?
Well, I don't think you need to play the game to bet on it.
I think it sort of helps if you sort of play it and follow it.
Wow.
When was the last time you played? The last time I saw you play, I played with you. You rolled around in a cart for 2 days. That was 2 years ago.
So by definition,
okay.
all the ex-AFL players should be really good AFL punters, are they?
Okay, I'll rephrase it. Does he watch the golf a lot?
He does.
He's a big
No,
golf man.
he's sick. Every Monday morning, he's always cheering the final groups home. Who do you like this week in the Northern Trust?
Oh, look, I'm still, even though Speed just got us with Todd last week, I still want to pot him, mate. I think he's out of form. He's not up to it. I'm actually worried whether he'll actually ever get his game back again. So I think Spieth's up against. I sent him through to Dicko last night. I'll just get him up here.
Harris English to beat Jay
English.
Spieth is the bet that you want to have.
Well, Harris English has been in pretty good form, so I think that's a good bet against Spieth. I'm happy to sort of
$1.83.
double up on that bet.
You're also pretty keen to take on Brooks Koepka. You've got Daniel Berger to beat Brooks.
It's Flying Burger.
Daniel Berger's flying at the moment. He's playing really well. Brooks is back to his normal stupid stuff where he doesn't care when he's in the normal PGA Tour events, only sort of gets turned on for the majors, it looks like. He was no good at the Greensboro last week.
And you're also still taking on Ricky. Young Rick, you want to back Billy Horschel to beat Ricky Fowler this week.
Well, Billy Horschel nearly won last week, and Ricky's not playing well, so I'm happy to take Billy Horschel to beat Ricky. I don't even know what the odds are. I took him last night. I can't even remember. What are they, Sammy?
Billy Horshaw's $1.98, taking on Ricky Fowler at $1.83.
Oh, juicy.
Big Daddy, what's the story with Rory? Rory McIlroy, always, in the top 2 or 3 of betting, and he seems a bit out of touch. Or what's wrong with his game at the moment?
Yeah, well, we spoke about Rory about a month ago. He was sort of playing okay, but now that sort of COVID's come back and they're right into their, they're back from that sort of spell and they're playing a bit, he's a little bit off. So I think Bryson will beat Rory. Bryson's playing well.
Now, we wouldn't be talking PGA Golf without talking about Colin Morikawa. $23 with Top Sport. Mm-hmm. What do you expect from him this week?
He's hardly missed any cuts. So there's no cut, obviously, in the Northern Trust. But if you have a look at his form, he's won as many times as he's missed cuts. So he's just a very, very consistent player by the look of it. He looks like the sort of guy that's like a Webb Simpson that's just going to have top 20s after top 20s after top 20s. He's one definitely to follow there.
All the early betting at TopSport from sort of the sharps has been away from Bryson's. They've laid Johnson, laid McIlroy and Rahm to a few of the top punters there. Was there a reason for this? Do we need to be worried about Bryson DeChambeau?
I'm backing Bryson DeChambeau to win this week.
No, I don't think so. Bryson actually won, I think, the last time there was the tournament played there. This event this week, they go very low at, historically. And Bryson... I'll try and get it up. But Bryson has won on this course before, so I can't find a reason to really pot him when his stroke average is recently nearly better than anyone else. So I don't know why the market wants to pot it.
Big Daddy, outstanding work. Can't wait to see you in the US Open Golf for the major stuff. You're on fire.
Scooty,
thanks for joining us.
Have you got a golf bet this week? You betting anything?
No, I don't know what I'm doing in the golf.
I'm backing Bryson, Webb Simpson, and Daniel Berger to win outright.
Well, top 10 finish, Colin Morikawa, 340 at TopSport. I think that looks brilliant for me.
I'm doing more sort of half-court three-pointers in the golf.
Thanks, Big Daddy.
Against Speed, guys. Keep potting Speed.
I love you, Big Daddy.
Thanks, mate. That's all we've got time for. I'm getting the wrap-up for Little Birdie Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube show. Or follow
Go to littlebirdie.com
on the website. Jack's starting to eat the beautiful cake that Samantha's brought in.
Can't even wait till the end of the show.
Sammy's been playing up. That's her little giveaway if she brings in cake. And it's a tip for you. If you're hungover at work, taking cake to win over your colleagues when you're back at work out of COVID. See you next week.
Huge again. Thank you very much. And we'll see what we get next week from Scoot. That was... interesting.
Entertaining, if nothing else.
Finish with a little stumble again. He's thrown the mic.
He's thrown the mic.
To keep my hands on myself.